Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Thursday. It's Thursday Tier Talk. Make sure you're smashing that subscribe button, that bell notification, and of course, hitting a like on the video as well. It is a big show for us tonight, one of our bigger shows in the season. This is our Premier League prediction show. So always a lot of fun, some hot takes, all that kind of stuff. Anyone in the chat, you're welcome to jump in if you want. Also, I have pinned the link to the top of the chat as well, so you'll see it there if you're looking for it. It is up there at the top of the chat for anyone who wants to join us. Join us tonight, obviously, my brother from another mother, Dazzler. How are we?
Good evening, sweetheart. How are you?
Good, yeah, not a bother at all. And Keith's back on again. Keith was on our wrestling show the other night as well, and he's obviously decided that he likes a bit of podcasting. So there we go. So Keith's back joining us tonight. So
good man, Keith. Good man.
And Big Phil has joined us, who's always in the chat as well, always supporting the channel.
I know, I'm Darren. Hey, Keith. How's all David?
Hey, Phil.
How are you?
All good. Thanks for joining us. Baz is in the chat there as well. Evening, lads. Baz,
Captain Caramel in the house.
Send us your predictions. Dino's there as well. Dino sent me his predictions, so we'll have a bit of fun with it.
Oh, good man, Dino.
Before we kick off, lads, and we will take a look at the Premier League fixtures for match week 1 as well, just to kick it off as well. But before we kick it all, I thought this was absolutely fantastic by Chelsea today. The players taking a portion of their bonuses from winning the Club World Cup and donating it to the family of Diogo Jota and Andre Silva, which I thought was an absolutely really nice move from Chelsea and all. Darren, what'd you make?
Yeah, I popped it into the group this morning, obviously, and I just thought it was a real touch of class. You know, yes, there would have been obviously Portuguese players in the team, Pedro Neto and stuff like that, and you would have had Enzo who played in Portugal and stuff as well at Benfica. So there was links there. But it wasn't like he was their player. It wasn't like that there was something there that was an obligation. It wasn't. It was something that these lads looked at each other inside the dressing room and went, we're very fortunate to be in the position we're in. We've just done something we probably didn't believe we were going to do at the start of the competition. And for us, money isn't a huge issue. Let's put it to better use. Just really top class. Really top class, like. Have to be honest. Yeah.
I thought it was a lovely gesture. Keith, what did you think?
Do you know what? It shows that they just put rivalry aside for this time when stuff like this comes around, and it's nice to see as well because, like, it really is. As a Liverpool fan myself, it was heartbreaking to see Jota passing away because you know yourself, Niall. He was a very important player for us back when he was alive, and he would get an important goal for us when we need it. And it's great to see like rivalries put aside, like. What's the name again from Roma that put Flowers there? He had a game. Oh, was it Diallo or something? What was his name again?
Diabala,
that was it. He went to the actual Anfield itself and put some flowers down. And they didn't even have a match or anything like that.
They played Everton the other day in a friendly in the new stadium. Yeah. And he visited, I think, before or after the game.
Yeah, Ranieri was there with him, wasn't he? Ranieri was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, just
that was great
class.
To see.
Big up, Joanne. Thanks for joining us tonight, as always. Always in the chat. Love it, Joanne. Thank you. Interesting profile picture.
I was going to say, is this a glimpse into the future? Is this Joanne?
Is this Joanne dropping her hot take?
It might be. Jesus. Imagine. You know, he's the only one manager I can think of outside of what we have that I'd pay to see in the league. I think he'd be absolute gold. Now, I do think he's a walking, you know what, but
grenade.
I just think
he's like a Jose Mourinho in some ways.
Yeah, it is, but like he backs it up a bit more than Jose, not necessarily from a winning point of view, but like he'd be happy to go down the tunnel and have a punch up with you. And I just think this is, you know, we want characters like this in the league. We're the best league in the world. We know that. This is what we want to see. We want these guys to come in and get involved, you know?
I think he suit Chelsea or something like that. Like maybe if he's to go somewhere like there.
I think Joanne's not the only one of the Arsenal fans who have a bit of a thing for for Simeone. I think Arsenal, a lot of the Arsenal fans have said for quite some time they'd like to see
Absolutely.
somebody like that come in and be a bit more stern with the players and what goes on at the club, and not accepting the mediocrity and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't forget, folks, if you want to join the Fantasy Football League this season as well, Dino's running that. It's called the Shanky Sessions. He can give you the codes and stuff like that. It's a tenner a man. All cash prizes going out, I think, to the top 3 or something like that. He said he'd break down the prizes once he has everyone in. So hit up Dino if you want to join that bit of crack, as always. Right, we'll kick off the show and we'll go through all the predictions and stuff like that. So we will start with top 5. And Phil, you're a guest on tonight here as well, so give us your top 5. What do you think your top 5 is going to be this season?
For top 5 this season, well, I think Liverpool are going to be number 1. Number 2, Manchester City. Number 3, Arsenal. Number 4, Chelsea. And number 5, it's a hard one to call. I'd probably say Spurs.
Okay. Keith?
5th, I say Aston Villa, purely because of the manager. He's a fantastic manager. Chelsea 4th. I think Arsenal 3rd, because if they lose their striker, they'll be fucked, I think, to be honest with you. 2nd, City, and then Liverpool. Oh, if we get Isak, I think we'll win. But it'll still be hard if we don't get Isak.
Okay, interesting. Darren? Here we go. CM Punk style.
White bomb.
I don't think we can see the version of Manchester City we saw last season. I don't think we can. I don't think Pep Guardiola would accept it. I think obviously with the signings they've made and with what they're looking to do as well, obviously Savinho getting closer to the exit door and possibly Rodrigo coming in and stuff. I kind of see City finding themselves back at the top of the tree. I'd have Liverpool 2nd. I think it'll be a very close run title race. I think you could probably toss a coin. And I think what happens between now and the end of the window will play a huge part. And then obviously what happens in January with how people are able to have options in the squad and stuff. I think Chelsea are going to do 3rd. I have Chelsea for 3rd. I think they're doing really, really well under Enzo Maresca. I think they're making some good signings. There's still talk of, possibly Garnacho and probably the boy Xavi Simons as well. 2 real good footballers. I like both the kids. I know Garnacho's, become a bit of a shithouse at United, but I don't think for me it takes away from his ability as a footballer. Might as a human, but not as a footballer. So I think he'd add to the Chelsea pot. I think Arsenal for 4th. And I think this will be Mikel Arteta's last season at Arsenal. Yeah. And I think it'll be my own team for 5th. Because I think we've made some big waves. I think with Mbeumo and Cunha, Benjamin Sesko, and I think there's growing hope of the Carlos Baleba boy coming in as well. So huge. So really, really hopeful. I think Amarin's laid out some standards there. I think Barada and Wilcox are doing a good job behind the scenes. I know the protest for this weekend has been cancelled and stuff like that from the fan base, which would lead me into thinking that the boys have done enough to start to turn the tide a little bit, which will get them a little more time. And I think, once they can start off and not absolutely implode in the first 5 or 6 games, albeit they're tough games, I think they'll be able to get it rolling, and I think there'll be enough there in that squad to get 5th place this year.
Yeah, I think, the campaign this weekend, if it went ahead, would seem kind of weird with Carrington after being upgraded, yes. money being spent when you thought it was really, really tight and stuff like that. And all. So it would kind of seem out of kilter with what's going on there and stuff like that. I think, to be honest with you, and I was looking at it today, I think if you sign Baleba, I think he's the most important signing of your window. I think if you get Baleba in, I have to say, it would be absolutely unbelievable, and I would throw the bag at it as well. He's a phenomenal player. The only problem is you lose him during the AFCON, but listen, that's scattered across the league. Anyway.
And Mbeumo and Onana, if he's the keeper at that stage, and possibly a couple more around the edge of the squad. So huge. But listen, as you said, there's other teams in the league going to lose players. Liverpool are going to lose Salah. So you know.
Yeah, it does. Carrington, look, that video I seen on Carrington, look, the business, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoyed the show tonight, lads. Sadly, I won't be able to make it on this year for the predictions. I will send them on in a message in a few minutes to Niall or Darren. Perfect.
Absolutely, Ted.
Absolutely send them in. Absolutely.
He's one of our guys. Good man, Ted.
Right, my top 5, funny enough, changed in the last 10 days and stuff like that. So I have Liverpool at number 1. I have Man City at number 2, based on they gone very quiet in the market, and all of a sudden Savinho leaving, Grealish leaving. I think are kind of Savinho's a kind of a weird one, but Grealish is kind of, it was expected, but being linked with Rodrigo and potentially Donnarumma, I think really puts them back up there again. I originally had Chelsea in second until the boy Levi Colwill got the ACL injury. I thought there was really good stuff happening there at Chelsea. They had cemented really well. They were making some key signings again, but they were really looking like a team. The way they played in that Club World Cup and all, the momentum of that and everything else. Now, what dropped them? I've dropped them down to third now, and the reason I did that was the soundings coming out from Chelsea at the moment is they're not going to go into the market, which I thought they would have, for an experienced central defender to come in, even if it's a kind of a short-term kind of thing, to kind of solidify them there at the back and bring a bit of experience. Now they're going to stick with the youth that they have, which is very concerning for me. The only other thing as well, they didn't go in for Mannion and they haven't gone in for Donnarumma, so they're sticking with the lad Robert Sanchez. That for me is a concern. I know he was very good at times in the Club World Cup, but one swallow doesn't make a summer. And we know the issues that are there and stuff like that. So they're the only things I pinpointed. Otherwise, I was looking at Chelsea going into second there, Man City third. I have Arsenal in fourth. And I know some people might think that's a little bit harsh, but they've gotten in the striker. They've gotten in Zubimendi. But I still have huge concerns in terms of creation in that midfield. I still have huge concerns on the left-hand side with Martinelli and with Trossard. One or the other potentially going to leave the building. It doesn't look like now they're going to get SA by the looks of things. It looks like he may be heading to Spurs. I thought they would have been all over that. And I think if they don't make the adjustment on the left-hand side, and I have reservations about the creation in the midfield as well. It's all well and good bringing in the striker that we've all spoke about for, Darren, we've been speaking about now for probably 4 or 5 seasons at this stage. But Absolutely. If you don't bring in the tools to supply that striker, that's a problem as well. And that's where my concern is with Arsenal. And I think that's where they might potentially fall on the sword. Now, that can change very quickly over the next 10 days, as we know. So we'll see what happens there. And then in fifth, I have Man United in fifth because I think Man United have made the right moves. I think they've begun to look like that team again. The only reservation I had about them was, as I spoke to you, Darren, about it, was if they drop Bruno into a more deeper role, you have to make sure that the 3 boys up front obviously pick up his GA that falls away from him playing in a deeper role and stuff like that. And that's my only real concern. Obviously, the keeper is obviously a concern. It's hard to know which way they're going to go with that. I presume Biender's going to be the number 1 by the looks of things.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Onana's going to be out for about 5 weeks, is it? 6 weeks? Is he missing the first month or something?
He's trained this week.
Oh, okay, so he's back. Well, the talk was he wasn't going to be back till September.
So, initially they had said about 5 weeks. And then all of a sudden, they said he might be able to get back a bit quicker. And this week, they had him in all the photography and stuff, and he's back in training. It would not, under any circumstances, shock me to see the team sheet on Sunday and the first one between the sticks to be Andre Onana. I think with the game time Biender has gotten, I think it was an opportunity for him to solidify the spot with Onana being out and kind of being unchallenged, so to speak. But he hasn't taken it. And to be honest, he hasn't covered himself in glory at all a number of times. And I think it'll probably lead to the door being left open for Onana. If you factor into that, the position Onana would have had in the discussions with Mbeumo and possibly Baliba, I don't know, 2 other Cameroonians, I don't know if you can then, get him to go and sell the club to the boys and then pull him out and make him an unhappy sort. It doesn't do anything for the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? So I think you kind of have to eat a bit of that just to get the bounce back from the other 2 boys.
Do you think this is his last chance this season to prove himself?
Onana?
Or do you think it's just too late now?
No, I suppose like for me, he hasn't played in a good United side yet. He hasn't. What would that do for him? I'm not sure. Is it just a level of confidence that needs to be built? Like we saw this lad play at Ajax and Inter Milan. He was one of the top keepers on the continent. We expected when he came in there to be a big shift at United and for this guy to be the guy that did the job. And it just hasn't materialised. Now, I don't know whether is the league too fast for him? Is the level of concentration there? Is it too physical? I'm not sure. But unfortunately, it hasn't worked for Onana. I expected us to go and sign a goalkeeper. The fact we haven't tells me either they don't have the money there because they're trying to get to other areas before the keeper. I.e., I don't want to spend 40 million on a keeper and then miss out on Baliba because of it, right? Because we know next summer there might be 3 or 4 clubs looking at Baliba and we're trying to get the bounce on this. So I think you're eating the Onana thing for a season, but kind of think either way, unless at the end of the season we're saying Andre Onana wins the Player of the Year award at Man United, I think next year he's gone. So
I'm surprised you didn't go after Donnarumma because he's only going for what, 26 million. Now maybe it's the wage structure that could maybe stop.
They're looking for more money. They're looking for just shy of 50 million euros. Now, that's the fee being muted. Obviously, the level, he's only got a year left on the deal. Obviously, the level it gets to, is it add-ons? Are we at 35 plus add-ons? How do we get to that to keep everybody happy? But I do think what you mentioned there probably plays a big part. And I know they've done a lot with the wage structure to try and strip that back massively. And obviously Sesko coming in, Sesko's offered more money to go to Newcastle than he was to come to United. So he took less of a wage packet because United wanted to bring him in on a certain amount of money that he could grow to a level, rather than bringing him into a level. And then after 2 or 3 seasons, if he kicks half a ball, it's astronomical. And you're back to your Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford kind of situations where you can't get guys off the books because their wages is exponential,
I just feel if you can get Donnarumma in the door, I think he's in the top 3 of the best goalkeepers.
I think he's a smashing goalkeeper. I think he's a smashing goalkeeper. I just think if they know that financially they can only either do Baliba or they can do, say, Donnarumma and another £40 million midfielder.
See, I feel, to be honest with you, if you can get him in the door, he would do wonders for you. He would actually, that's the reason why I didn't pick you to go 5th, because Onana does not fill me with confidence at all.
No. And if we're like that as fans, right, surely the 3 lads in front of him or the 5 lads in front of him feel exactly the same, yeah?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
I agree with you. Darren, I heard as well, that is not how true it is, that Donnarumma was looking for £250,000 a week if he goes to Man United. And I know Indians now are very strict now on the whole wage structure now as well. Like, don't pay him out at all. So, will he go? Would he? If that's the case.
Well, I don't think he's going to get that type of bread at United because I think with the redundancies and stuff that happened this year, I think for you to strip a lot of what was in the club back and for you to scale back the operations and stuff like that and then go out and throw 250 grand at a goalkeeper, I think it sends the wrong message. It doesn't look good. And I think, again, they might be just eating this up for the minute until, until maybe we can bring a little bit of success back. Because obviously, don't forget, Liverpool have been able to go out and do wonders in this window. But one of the reasons they've been very, very successful over the last few years, winning trophies, creating sponsorship deals off the back of that. So commercially, they've done very, very well as a club from winning. The issue with United has been we haven't won. We haven't taken part in the Champions League year on year. So there's been reductions in money from sponsors. We haven't gotten the TV money from the Champions League. You're not getting a spot on the table. And all of a sudden then that snowballs,
Oh, stop.
Dino's in. United missed out with Palhinha. Ugarte is going to be a passenger if he plays in the middle for United. Cass looks in great fitness, but he doesn't have the legs. Palhinha, would you fancy him, Dino? Or Darren?
He's 28. I think if you're going for, a Palhinha, you're kind of looking down the road that you've just been down with Casemiro, where you're getting a guy and it's possibly just a little bit late. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, because, when Palhinha was in the league, we all looked at him and thought, wow, like...
Fulham,
Fulham. He went to Bayern. He went to Bayern and couldn't have a kick. He couldn't get a kick. Like, you'd have to wonder what's Vincent Kompany seeing that this guy wasn't involved at a better level. Is it an issue like, and this is the issue I have with Ugarte, I think Ugarte has a great engine. I think defensively does a phenomenal job, but I think when he gets the ball at his feet, he's extremely limited. And if you look at him in the role he plays in that kind of Moyes Caicedo role, right? But if I look at Moyes Caicedo when he picks the ball up and he's able to drive into the space and then pop balls off and keep the run going and drag guys out of position, Ugarte gets it, takes it, pops it off and sits. So then he's not a threat, which means they don't have to factor him into the numbers going the other way, and you don't get enough output from him. So we're looking for somebody like a Belieber who can do the break-up, but can drive, can push, you know. And I just think I think Ugarte will play plenty of games, plenty of minutes for us this season. I just think we'll find out again what we looked at last season. He's a little bit limited at times with the ball at his feet and what he can do with it.
Yeah, I think if you bring Belieber in, I think Ugarte be used in more of a kind of, you know, more of a structured kind of, more tactical kind of way, I think, and that's where you will see his minutes. Obviously, you'll probably see Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and that kind of thing and all, but I think if Belieber comes in, I think he's key to United, to be honest. Right, let's kick off. Keith, you kick us off this time. Bottom three. Who's getting relegated? And this should be interesting now.
I think Burnley are goners, to be quite honest with you. Scott Parker, for me, he's more of a championship manager than a Premier League manager. I just don't think he has it in him to be a Premier League manager. Now, I'm not saying he's shit like Wayne Rooney or anything like that. I just think championship is more his style, to be honest.
Much fitter than Wayne Rooney. Much fitter.
Yeah.
According to Tom Brady, anyway.
19th, I've gone for Leeds purely because I know they want their manager out, to be honest with you. And if things don't go well for their manager at the moment, I think he'd be gone within a couple of games, of being honest. And then I'm going to go with Brentford. I think Brentford they're gone. They've lost so many of the good players. Key Andrews, is this his first time being a manager?
It's his first head coach role. Yeah, it's his first rodeo. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so look, it's a big ask for him to keep them up and to do well. You know, with the amount of players that they've lost, and they lost one of the best managers as well before that, who I rate highly. You know, but I think Sunderland will probably stay up. They've made some great signings, to be honest with you. You know, Granit Xhaka he's getting on in age, but you know he could do a job for them for a year or two and keep them up. That's what they need.
Did anyone else fall over when they realised that Sunderland paid 20 mil for Granit Xhaka? I was like, what? 20 mil?
Oh, right.
20 mil?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Jesus,
But
you could have stoned me there, I tell you.
Yeah. They're paying to bring that bit of experience in as well, isn't it?
And you know what? With what they've brought in with the youth, the exuberance, the energy, the creativity, he's exactly what they need. 100%.
It's like what I said about Chelsea at the back. They needed to bring in that kind of player to play around those players that are in there and stuff. You know, that's what I was thinking. Xhaka handed the Sunderland captain yesterday as well. Wow, there you go. There's a statement. Ten Hag still fuming over Xhaka leaving. Well. Maybe he has greater ambition. Philip, bottom three.
Burnley, I say will go down. Brentford, after Thomas Frank leaving and selling the Wayne and all, a few of the players and all, having been replaced. And I just have a horrible feeling Wolves are going to go down as well.
Darren?
I'm going to complete Burnley's treble. Burnley, for me, are prime candidates. I think the other two spots will be a little bit more competitive. I think I see Burnley possibly being cast aside a little bit, you know, on this 15, 16 point kind of thing.
And then a proper relegation battle in there.
And then a proper relegation battle with some of the other sides. I do think Brentford are in the mix. I also think Leeds will be in the mix. and I think Sunderland will be in the mix. But just because Brentford have a little bit more experience over the last few years, I'm going to send the 3 that came up back down.
But that's a crisis in itself, isn't it? Because that'd be 3 years in a row.
Yeah, it would.
True.
It would.
You know,
I think it just goes to show, and I know some of the EFL clubs have spoken about this before. When you make that step down to the Championship from the Premier League, and you know, your budget changes and you're going to different stadiums and all of this starts to factor in, players leave, and then you take the step up with a lesser, you know, lesser group of players to get back and stay in the league at the standard that the league is at, while teams are getting better all the time, and you've had to take a step down and play 44 games on shit pitches in bad conditions, go to Stoke on a Tuesday night, all of that, you know, and it's just so tough to compete then at the very top level. It really is. I think they're talking about the parachute payment being increased to try and help that, to stop the yo-yo effect. That when teams go down, they don't need to sell the crown jewels. They can maintain what they have, make 1 or 2 changes, and then come back and add 2 or 3 and be a force, you know?
because I would love to see Blackburn come up or something more, like, you know, teams like that you haven't seen in years. I said it the same, like West
Steve,
Brom.
have you ever been to Blackburn?
No.
You definitely don't want to see Blackburn come back up. It's a fucking hellhole, pardon me French. Keep them there, because the less likely chance we have to go and visit the place, the better.
Yeah, I think
I'll take that for nothing.
Yeah, I
This
think
is the bad place, Darren.
It makes Limerick look fucking tropical.
Is there that bad?
Right?
Yeah, I think the key issue as well is I think a lot of clubs come up and they're happy to corral the money that they get coming into the Premier League, and they don't take that leap, that risk as well, and that's a part of it as well. Also, what I think happens as well is
say it, Niall. Go on, say it. You know what you have to say. You say it all the time. It's like you're lying. There's a real lack of ambition.
Yeah, lack of ambition. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think the other side of it as well is if you do really, really well in the Championship and you get promoted, the Premier League teams come in and they sign your players. So you end up losing what got you to the dance in the first place.
Do you think Wrexham will get up?
I hope so. I'd love to see Wrexham and Birmingham come up.
Broke their transfer record today. Yeah, Wrexham. Wrexham broke their transfer record today. They paid Ipswich Town 10 million for Nathan Broadhead. 10 million.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
It's gone mental, isn't it? It's gone
Weren't they
mental.
going after Ericsson at one point?
Fucking hell, man.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Right. Wait till I just check what's
He's
up
still
there.
dangling in the wind, Keith, isn't he?
Who, Ericsson?
Ericsson, he hasn't signed on the dotted line anywhere yet.
No. Well, if he
I
gets
don't know. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
So
he's still there.
Just
I'll give you to have a chance.
Yeah, I'll give you my 3 anyway. I went with Burnley, Brentford, and Wolves as well, similar to yourself, Philip. I think. Just to give you Dano's here, he went with top 5: Liverpool, Chelsea, City, Spurs, and Arsenal, and his bottom 3 are Burnley, Sunderland, and Brentford. So Brentford seems to be the hot one at the moment. From Ben's gone in as well. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, and Newcastle. I can't see Newcastle getting anywhere near top 5. And
the only thing I'll say about Newcastle, right? Obviously, you've got this very dark cloud over St James's Park at the minute with Alexander Isak, but with that park to the side, right? And I know we'll have a giggle at Aaron Ramsdale. The Anthony Elanga will do very well there, and he'll bring a bit of balance to that team where you had Barnes and Gordon on the opposite side, and Elanga will do a job there. They brought in the boy Malik Tah from AC Milan, the German centre-back, very, very good. Will probably replace Fabian Schär in alongside Botman and Bourne. And today they've just coughed up about 42 million for the boy Jacob Ramsey from Aston Villa, who's a really, really tidy footballer as well. If Isak leaves and Newcastle can replace replace, the goal involvement and maybe add another somewhere else, I don't think they'd be miles off, because I actually think the squad as a whole has gotten better.
I think the issue for them is they're running out of time, and as things go on, they're running out of names, and that's the problem as well,
Who's top of the name list at the minute?
Jackson, I think.
Jackson and Vissa, isn't it? Vissa off Brentford.
No, I think it's the boy Samu off Porto, isn't it? The lad that Chelsea thought they'd sign. Remember the big lad last year? He was at Atletico Madrid. Went to Porto.
When you think about it, how far down that Newcastle list is that boy in terms of if Isaac was leaving?
They should go after Tony. They used to be with Brentford. He'd be a great sign.
Tony, who used to be with Newcastle, don't forget. Tony came through the academy at Newcastle and was sold to Northampton Town. So went from Northampton to Peterborough and went from Peterborough to Brentford. So Tony's from that neck of the woods. He knows what's going on up there. Tony will be a great replacement. That's a super shout, Keith.
He's also in the Saudi league as well. So if you didn't want to hassle with the money, you could probably go in there on a loan move or something. It could be contrived or whatever.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that one for the last day of the window? Oh, we've something coming through here. The Sheikh has just arrived on his magic carpet, and he's brought even Tony in a 6-foot banger with him.
There you go. And they're still paying him bottom three for Ben: Sunderland, Wolves, and Burnley. So that gets us up to date on that. Right, Golden Boot. Darren, you kick us off this one. Golden Boot. Who have you got for your Golden Boot?
So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, there is an obvious choice. You know, I do think with the creativity gone around Haaland at the minute, that there's a possibility we could see the Haaland we saw in the first season or so.
Goaler, the 50 goaler,
we could absolutely see that. We could see him do something silly this year with the creativity that's gone in around him. However, I'm also trapped because I'm looking at, okay, if Ekitike stays as Liverpool's 9, I think he's in the mix. But if I think Isak comes in and Ekitike either shifts to the left or plays a lesser role, I think then Isak is in with a shout. So because it's kind of up in the air at the minute, I'm going to just go with Haaland. But I think Ekitike and Isak should be up there in that conversation for me.
No Salah.
I think this season, and especially I've seen a little bit of Liverpool in pre-season, I don't think he looks off it, but I think Liverpool are trying to become less reliant on him.
Yeah.
Spreading it.
Right.
They want to even out that 70% from last year. They want to spread that now.
And the reason I think they're doing that, and I think this is very clever, because I think they know the deal he signed is his last deal at Liverpool. So there will be a phasing out over the next couple of years. So you can't go from 70% goal involvement, to nothing. So you have to wean that down slightly and put other pieces in. And that's why I think they've gone along the lines of, Wirtz, Ekitike, possibly Isak, because there's GA coming from everywhere. And you're not just saying, well, if that lad walks, we've got our arses at the wall here because we're in trouble,
Yeah.
I think it's very clever from Liverpool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Acers on Savinho. I wonder, was it the offer or is it the fact that they've inquired about Rodrigo and Madrid have told them Rodrigo ain't going nowhere? Maybe that's what it is, and they pulled back on it. Ted's top 5 is coming in. He's going City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Villa. A lot of people going on Villa. What do we make of this? I think Villa are going to have a tough season this season.
I think Villa are going to have a real tough season.
Yeah.
Think so myself.
I think Villa top half this season is going to be a big deal for them.
I think if Villa made 7th, they'd have had a decent season.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
But
Brent's going in with Erling Haaland as well.
Yeah.
I think Dino had Joe Pedro in there in his selection. And Ben has Haaland as well for the Golden Boot. Keith, who'd you got in there? Did you go with Salah?
Yeah, see, Daz made a good point as well, and I was thinking that too. He is taking the pressure off. The Liverpool are taking the pressure off Salah. And I don't know, look, if we get Isak, I wouldn't rule out Isak either, to be honest with you, if he can stay fit. Now, I think Slot will manage his minutes with him, and he'll probably just do a rotation with Ekitike and Isak. So, depending if he can stay fit, I will probably put him in the mix there. But you can't really rule out fucking Haaland or maybe Ekitike, but probably Haaland, I think.
Yeah.
He's just too good.
Phil, who'd you pick Golden Boot?
Erling Haaland. I think this year he's going to do better. Last year he wasn't great. We're just planning to do it this year. Either him or either Alexander Isak if he goes to Liverpool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Certainly going to be interesting. And again, as we said at the top of the show as well, we're 2 weeks out from the window closing roughly. So like this can all change very quickly.
Oh, 100%.
Ted's gone for Haaland as well. I went for Haaland as well. I can't see I can't see City having the season they had last season. And I think when you're bringing in the likes of Rangers and Cherky and players like that and all, I think it's
the only thing that's going to stop him is his injuries, I think, from getting it.
Yeah, maybe. But I think what he'll do is, I think what happens is a lot of the injuries from last season, I think he was being expected to do that bit more than just put the ball in the back of the net. And I don't think that suited him. I think that might have been the problem. I think he'll revert back just to being that absolute poacher, burying the ball into the back of the net on a consistent basis. So I think that's the way it will go. Golden Glove. Phil, kick us off. Keeper, who are you going with?
I think I'll go with Allison.
Okay. It's a shout, but we don't normally keep a lot of clean sheets. That's the only thing. We tend to win matches, but we do tend to concede. Keith?
I'm going to go for Raya because Arsenal have the best defence, to be honest. Allison he just gets too many little niggles, and that's the problem with him. Ederson is not, for me, he's not really good enough. But I'll go for Raya. I think Raya is one of the best in the Prem.
I went with Raya as well. Ben went with Raya as well. Dino went with Sanchez. Darren?
I kind of have a really similar issue with the Golden Glove as I did the Golden Boot. Because I'd like to know what's happening at City. If things stay as they are and Ederson is kind of on the wane, I could see it being James Trafford. However, if Donnarumma comes in, Trafford's then on the bench and it's Donnarumma's. Yeah. So, but again, I'm going to do the same thing as I did with Liverpool. Because we don't know anything, I'm going to stick it elsewhere and I'm going to shock the shit out of these lads. Andre Onana.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez.
Now I asked your Golden Glove here now, not your hot take. Okay. That's a shout now. I wasn't expecting that.
Fucking hell.
You being a former goalkeeper as well. That's knocked me a bit now, in fairness.
I don't necessarily think it will be down to his goalkeeping skills. I think with the way we're going to play this season and with the boys at the back, I think we've a much better chance of keeping cleaner sheets. And I don't think it's down to him. And if you look last season, we kept a few clean sheets. He wasn't miles off it. And we were poor. So my reckoning is if we pick up 25%, this lad's in the mix.
Yeah, maybe. We will definitely be very open, but it looks at things. That's definitely Liverpool still got to win so much for Jota. We'll be following them a lot this season. Yeah, absolutely. Onana couldn't even play in a pub team. We shall say. Ace was giving it large tonight. Right, lads. Best and worst signing that you think, and obviously we're talking so far, and you can include loan deals as well if you want, because they are a signing. So
just for context, yeah.
Oh,
David Raya won the Golden Glove last season with 13 clean sheets, yeah? In the worst Man United team in history, Andre Onana had 9. Doesn't sound so silly now.
13 seems so low, doesn't it, to win a Golden Glove when you think about it out of 38 games?
It's a third of the games. Yeah. That's fucking phenomenal, man.
Do you think so?
Absolutely.
I heard 13 and I'm thinking, well, how good? Well, I suppose when you think about it, obviously Arsenal lost. They lost Gabriel and stuff like that, so that might have affected it and stuff like, I would have expected it to be higher to win the Golden Glove, but obviously
what would you be thinking?
16,
17, maybe
17. Yeah, that's what I would have thought. I would have thought Gabriel's injury might have caused him 3-4 clean sheets, maybe. That would be my thinking on it. So I think then when you look at that, the gap is very different. If that's, I wonder what was 2024 actually then.
I
If
will
you have
find out.
2024, have a look at 2024 there as we go along. Acers is going in with Verts as the best signing. Keith, you kick us off. Best and worst signing. Who are you going with?
I think the best one, yeah, I'll go for Verts. I think if we can get like 10, 12 goals and about 15 assists or something like that for him, it'd be fantastic. I think I just think he's going to absolutely be electric for us this season. I think worst signing, it is probably maybe a bit of a hot take, but I think Zubamendi.
Interesting.
I think Zubamendi because I think some Spaniards don't take to the Premier League. Do you know? I think he might not take to the Premier League. To be honest with you, that'd be my call.
Might get a bit homesick in London.
Sorry. So last year it was shared. It was Raya and Sells. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
13. Year before Raya with 16.
There you go.
Year before David De Gea with 17. And the year before it was shared between Alisson and Ederson, and they 20.
There you go. So 13 is low, you know, and well, 9. If you're in the shake of 9 is
there is also a trend of it dropping considerably. It's dropped season on season for the last 5 years.
But you know what that is that being compounded by the level of injuries that are being picked up by teams now and stuff like that?
Nope. I know what it is.
Go on. Enlighten us.
VAR.
Yeah. VAR.
Yep. All those offsides and penalties that weren't being given.
Is that over in Syria?
Goals.
No, it's good show.
Is that over in Syria? VAR? Because I know it's not everywhere. Like I know it's not the Scottish League or anything like that.
No, everywhere has it.
Oh,
they don't even have attendance in the Scottish League though, so I wouldn't worry about that.
He's going in hard tonight. Ted is going with Buemo and Madueke to be the worst. Ben went with who did he go with? He went with Calvert-Lewin to Leeds as the worst signing. Not a bad shout, actually. He didn't give me a best signing anyway. So, well, I get Dano's for you as well. Dano, signing of the season, Florian Wirtz. Worst signing, Jack Grealish, stroke Benjamin Sesko. Interesting. I wouldn't have had him in there. Haven't seen anything yet. Dano's in. He says, I hear Darren ask me balls. He says, Onana, he doesn't even have clean sheets in his gaff.
only 38 games to find out, Dino.
There we go. Phil, did you give us your best and worst signing?
Best signing, I'm going to say it'd be Bueno. The worst, I would say Calvert-Lewin. Those stories that he's going to be United there. I don't want him at that club at all whatsoever.
Darren, give us your two.
Do you think it's fair though to give the worst signing of the season to a lad that didn't cost a shekel? Like he doesn't even have a price tag around his neck. So do you know what I mean?
Well, you could argue that then on the loan moves as well, couldn't you?
Yeah,
of course you could. Absolutely.
I thought he's that good at all. He's been out to be.
You know what? I think we had this. We had this debate. Yeah, we had this debate last season, didn't we? I remember we came to the conclusion was we have to judge it based on what we see on the pitch, not what's happened in the boardroom, and that's how we tried to judge it. You know,
I am going to agree with a number of you and say I think the best signing by the end of this season will be Florian Wirtz. I think he's going to light it up. I really do. I think he's going to absolutely light it up. And I think the worst. I think I'm gonna have to agree with whoever said Noni Madueke because I still can't believe Chelsea managed to put a balaclava on and steal 50 million off Arsenal for that lad. That is fucking criminal, man. Jesus wept.
If you're looking at Arsenal and you're assuming out there on the left, is he better than Martinelli or Trossard? What do you
Definitely
think?
not better than Martinelli for me.
Not better.
I'm a fan of the boy Martinelli.
Yeah,
I like him. I like him. I'm not as big fan of Trossard. I don't think he's suited as much to playing on the left. I think he's better when he either drops in as the 10 or the false 9. I think when they park him out there, he lacks a little bit of speed, whereas the boy Martinelli has the pace to get by lads. At times his issue is he doesn't get his head up and find targets and put balls to fellas' feet when he should, you know.
If you could get a blend of the two, you'd have a good player, because Trossard
absolutely
finds
would.
the target. That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
What about Jack Grealish? You think he has a chance?
I do. I think the first 3-4 games, don't worry about it. He's just coming to get fitness and to get a touch of the ball. But like, I think by the time we get to Christmas, people could be talking about Jack Grealish. I think it'll suit him to play in a team where he's the big star, where give him the ball, let him dribble.
Villa effect.
The Villa effect. He'd be like Roy the Rovers again. I love the interview, you know, and he talks about, you know, my 2 favourite English players of all time, Wayne Rooney and Gaza. And he's built like that. He's that blocky sort of street footballer. And he took the number, obviously, that the 2 boys had at Everton. I think he could be huge at Everton. I really do. And I think if he gets moving, the fans will eat it up. They will eat it up.
I think his City's career is over with, personally.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's a fair point, Darren, you said.
Yeah.
It could improve.
I think so.
His career is over, but I think it's a do or die season for him as well. If he doesn't recapture his form the way he did with Villa, could it be that he might have to go abroad to maybe Spain or Italy, to maybe
worse, Turkey,
yeah,
and end up at Fenerbahce or Galatasaray trying to, you know what I mean, something like that, you know,
he can get the teeth done before he goes out partying.
Or do you end up in a situation? Let's write the headlines now. Or do we end up in a situation where he either ends up playing for Wrexham or Birmingham, the 2 money teams that might come out of the Championship and into the league?
Birmingham would be an interesting one, wouldn't it, with the Villa connection?
Wouldn't it?
Wrexham, I could say it. I don't know though. I think a lot of teams worry about the baggage, don't they? They worry about the Kevin and Perry effect, don't they? Really, and that's the problem. That's the problem for me. Listen, there's no doubt in the boys' ball ability and as a footballer and stuff like that. The problem is he gets entwined in everything else that's off the pitch, and that's really the issue, you know.
Do you think that'll get slightly better as he gets a little bit older and he starts to rein it in a little bit?
No.
Do you not think so?
I think Gascoigne's his hero.
And Rooney, another lad, very similar sort of. Possibly, maybe you're right.
Yeah, I don't say it. I don't think you can. Do you know what it is? I think it's like, I think you talking about him getting that bit of freedom to play at Everton will obviously reap benefits and stuff like that. We might see shades of the Grealish at Aston Villa, but I don't know. I just think if you take that out of him, like if we took that out of Gascoigne, would we have seen the brilliance of Gascoigne? Would we have seen the brilliance of George Best if we changed any of that? Like
I think that was the Maverick off the pitch that became the Maverick on the pitch, and that's what made them so good.
But that's the thing I'm talking about. If you take George Best and you had to turn around George Best and locked him in a padded room and said, "You're not going near women, you're not having a drink, and here you're living on chicken salads every day." Yeah, I don't know whether you get that George Best. I think
you'd have had Johan Cruyff instead of George Best, wouldn't you?
Kind of, yeah. But you know what I mean. It's like, I don't know. I think sometimes you can dampen that down, and I think with City as well, City who play in such a structured fashion. I think Grealish was just such a free role and stuff like that. Yeah. He was never going to suit that. Listen, you're out here and this is your 30-yard box. This is where you operate in. He wants to wander around the pitch and make things happen. He wants to look for the ball and also. I have him in there actually as my worst signing. I just don't know. Liverpool is party central as well, you know.
He was very good. I went to see Ireland and England last year in the Aviva, and he got man of the match that day. And he was very, very good. But Carsley had given him a really free role. So at one stage, he's going back and he's taking the ball off the centre backs. He's dribbling through the midfield. He's popping a 1-2 off the winger. He's getting it back and he's putting balls in behind. And you're looking at this lad with all this freedom going, Jesus Christ, this lad just wants to play football. And I think the restrictions at City made that very, very difficult. That's why I think at Everton now, you know, party City or not, I think he's going to ball out because I think it's the freedom that he'll want. And that's what will get the best out of him.
Yeah. I would just worry about Moyes trying to manage that whole situation. That for me could be the difficult thing, because Moyes would be a very old school kind of guy. Be in bed at fucking 9 o'clock and be up at 8 for your porridge kind of thing.
I think he'd be a bit smarter than that. I think he'd be a bit. I think he'd be clever in a sense of, you remember back in the day at Man United there was rules unless you were Eric Cantona. I think you could see something similar at Everton where there's rules unless you're Jack Grealish and you're doing it every week on the pitch, because if you are, off you go, free reign, do what you want.
I don't see Everton paying 50 million at the end of the season, because I don't think they'll have that type of money, especially 31 as well.
If they need to generate that type of money, they'll generate. Like, I mean, if he balls out, like you look at the money that's being paid out at the moment for players. When you see the likes of 55 million and stuff for Elanga and players like that, no, Jack Grealish finds the form that he had at Aston Villa. I mean, he didn't become £100 million player for nothing. You know what I mean?
No,
we knew that was inflated as well. But
but I do think I know what Keith's saying. I don't see Everton signing for 50 million at the end of the season either, Keith. But I think if he goes and balls out at Everton, you know, he'll get himself that move. Maybe it'll be back to a Villa. Maybe it'll be a Newcastle. Maybe it'll be a Spurs. Some of the other clubs that kind of had a little eye on him but said, "No, I'm not sure. Don't know whether to." Whereas Everton said, "We'll take him. We'll give him a role. We know what we can do with him." And then at the end of it, then he might have worked himself back to a little step above Everton. You know, a Newcastle or a Villa.
Because remember, you got to remember this one as well. Like, if he balls out this season and has a really good season, he's back in the England picture potentially as well, and all. You know?
Absolutely, 100%.
You know, and then you're in the whole world of image rights and everything else and all. And Grealish is a name out there and stuff like that. So you got to pay wedge for that kind of thing. That's the way it's going to work. Just to give you my best signing, who I think it's going to be, and it's a guy, Darren, we have spoke about for a long time at this stage. The boy Joe Pedro at Chelsea, I think, is going to be the signing of the season.
Way back to when I was talking about him when he was playing for Watford, Niall.
When we were told to go hunting in the Championship, that's where the quality and the talent were. Yeah,
right. Yeah. And we plucked about 4 or 5 of them, and I think maybe 3 of them now are you know, household names after it. The boy Joe Pedro could have a huge season at Chelsea. I hope he stays injury free. He picks up a couple of little niggles and knocks, and he can just lose rhythm because of it. When he's fit and when he's at it, I think he could be a huge asset at Chelsea. Huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he just plays with an aggression and a freedom, and I just like everything about him. I just think he's phenomenal. Yeah. Right. Manager of the season. Darren, you kick us off on this one.
Manager of the season. So if I'm going on the way the league table ended last year, in the positions people fill, right, I would expect Liverpool and City to be where they are again, and Arsenal, Chelsea as well, very similar. So then I'm going to come to 5th, which is us. I think we'll finish 5th. And I think if we finish 5th and we step 10 places up the table, Ruben Amorim's got to be in the shake-up. And I think the only thing that stops that is if one of the lads above him goes and wins a double or a treble or you know what I mean, and adds something to maybe a league title. But I think I really expect huge things this season at United. And I know a lot of people are very sceptical, but I'm all in here. I think the addition of not having Champions League football or any sort of European football will aid us in this situation, and allow us to go week to week, manage the minutes, and focus on one target at a time. You know, we're playing these lads on Saturday. We need to know how they eat, sleep, how they fucking cook their pasta, and that we can go and counter that when it comes to Saturday and stuff. So I think there's a lot of work to be done there, and I think Amorim. I'm going to go Amorim.
Shout, Keith.
Well, it generally goes to what the manager that wins the Premier League, doesn't it, most of the time? I think.
Sometimes. Yeah. I mean, that's normally the consistent view on it, but I mean, that's not without case. Like, I mean, if you look at like last season, Arne Slot getting, I mean, if Arne Slot gets, I mean, he won the league, came in on the back of Klopp leaving, didn't make any signings, really inherited Klopp's side, went on and won the league and won it in a canter, really, you know. So like, that's impressive when you see that. If it's Pep Guardiola and he goes out there and he's winning the time and time and time again, and it's the same thing, it kind of gets a bit old news and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that he shouldn't get it. But then you have to look, as Darren says, you have to get down through the placings and look and go, okay, who did these guys bring in? What budget was afforded to them? What were they playing with? Like, you look, we all talk about Thomas Frank. Look at what Thomas Frank achieved with Brentford. Look at what Areola achieved with Bournemouth. You know, is that a greater achievement than a Pep Guardiola winning a league, or a Slot this season winning a league? It was spent 400 million or whatever it's going to be when Isaac comes in and stuff like that. Do you gauge that against, let's suppose, an Areola or a Thomas Frank goes in and has a massive season with Spurs? What happens if Spurs make top 5 from being in 17th? That's massive as well. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
It depends on what way you gauge it and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be the person that wins the league. It just depends on what you decide yourself as the factors you want to see as being outstanding as performance and a manager and stuff, you know? Go ahead.
Well, I have two of them, so I will go for Thomas Frank. I'm a big fan of Thomas Frank. I think he's a fantastic manager, to be honest with you. And if he can do big things for Spurs, which is a big ask in Spursy land, you know, but if they can get far with him and to say if they win an FA Cup or something like that and try challenge for the top 4, now depending on what players they get in to help that, I think I'll go for Thomas Frank, to be honest. As well as that, who's the manager again for Sunderland?
Enzo Lafay.
Enzo Lafay. If they can keep him Sunderland up, 100% give it to him, because that's a big achievement, you know, in itself. I know they spent a lot of money, but this is Sunderland's coming back after 9 years of being out of the Premier League. So I think it'd be a great thing to give it to the lower teams, to be honest with you. Instead of just giving it to the big teams like Liverpool, Man U, or, you know, City, it'd be great to give it to the lower teams to just show a bit of recognition.
Cool. Phil?
I was going for this season, they were manager of the year, man of Chelsea, Andy Maresca. Like, he did a brilliant job last year, winning 2 trophies, getting the Champions League, and look, we did the Leicester, bringing them up to the Premier League. But I think him there at Chelsea, I think Chelsea are their own places. I'd say we up there challenge for the league this year. But I don't think they'll win the league this year. They could do it next year, the year after, you wouldn't know. I think they're definitely going the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I went with Maresca as well, believe it or not. I think he's been on a bit of a wave there. I think he took a little bit of time early on in last season, stuff like that. And I think they had that dip. They were pretty close to us, remember, in that kind of nearly coming into that Christmas period. And then they fell away and stuff like that. And they had that dip, but then they were so strong in the tail end of the season, getting back into that top 4 and stuff like that. That was huge, some huge results for them as well.
Wow,
and I just think Darren said it as well. It takes time to figure this stuff out when you make that step up. You know what I mean? And
as soon as the talk came in that they were challenging for a title, there was a fall off a cliff. And then when it went away, you seen them come back again. So they do have to learn how to deal with that pressure. Because at some stage, Chelsea are going to be challenging for a title in the not so distant future, I believe.
At the same time, could be like in the next year or 2 years' time, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, like, you know, crazy to say this. Crazy to say this. And do you want to do a hot take?
You can drop one if you want.
Chelsea will win a league title before Arsenal.
What would be surprised yourself?
That's a given, I think.
I'll take a word for Darren.
Is that a hot take? I don't know. I don't know whether that's a hot take. I mean, what are they saying on the social, or what are they saying on the content creators at the moment that Chelsea use Arsenal as their CEX? They just keep on selling them players and making bank. So
shit CDs that don't work.
Yeah, there you go. So, I don't know. Yeah, so it'd be interesting. But yeah, I think the big task for him this season, obviously, is finding that balance between the Premier League and the Champions League. Whereas you can kind of get away with it in the Europa Conference. You can use a different team, you can use different players and still be on a wave. I think what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to play his strongest 11 every Tuesday, Wednesday, every Saturday, Sunday. And that might be where the dynamic falls down. We shall see.
The only thing is he does have a big squad.
Yes.
He does have, you know, a Reece James and a Malo Gusto, and he does have a Cucurella, you know, and he does have a Delap and a Pedro and a Boino Gittins and a Neto and probably a Garnacho and a Xavi Simons and a Cole Palmer. So there's a lot of pieces that you can go, okay, you know, this team went and got a result away the other night, such and such. They're home this weekend against Sunderland. We're going to shuffle a couple, 4 or 5, move a couple of pieces around, give a little, get the win, keep the ball rolling, and just manage, because it's a really good squad. It's a really good squad.
The only thing when I did look at that was last year when he started tinkering and changing the squad, that's when they kind of fell down. And where he had this consistency is when he had that 11 that he was playing.
I do think some of the lads, though, that you're talking about are lads that won't play a part this season.
Yeah, no, that's fair as well.
You know, your Jadon Sancho, your Noni Madueke, your Jackson Martinez, you know, your Christopher Nkunku. Like if you're going in over the top of them with Neto and Garnacho and Javi Simons,
wholesale changes, yeah.
Do you know?
Absolutely. Right, first manager to be sacked. I think there'll be a lot of interesting ones.
Manager to be sacked.
Sorry, just to let you know, actually, Dino went Thomas Frank for manager of the season, and Ben went Arne Slot. So, first manager to be sacked, Dino went with Scott Parker, and Ben went with Graham Potter at West Ham. Who wants to kick it off? Keith.
You know what? I think he had a fantastic fucking season last year, but with the owner that they have, and I wouldn't be surprised. Now, it might not happen. Nuno from Nottingham Forest. I think something might happen there if they don't. There could be a more expectation of them wanting to stay where they are again because they played so well last season, and the owner might think, oh, we might get where we are again, maybe 5th or 6th. But if they have a bad spell and they end up dropping down to 12th or 13th, you know, very early on, he could get the sack, to be honest with you. But I think it's probably Graham Potter, to be honest, because he hasn't spent a lot of money there.
They're doing a bit of turmoil, aren't they, West Ham, as well? So it seems a bit all over the place. Now, again, 2 weeks can fix that, you know. You just never know.
Oh, yeah.
Phil, who are you going with? First manager to be sacked?
First manager to be sacked, Keith Andrews.
Shoot. I have to say.
Yeah, I know it's respected, I see him do well, but it's a big task now as Thomas Frank left and a lot of the top players leaving. So, you know, extra weight on the shoulders. That's what I reckon myself. He's the first to go.
Darren?
I'm going to agree with Ted, and I think it'll be Daniel Farke Leeds, because I think over the summer there was obviously discussions about whether he was going to stay, whether he wouldn't stay. There was the Jose Mourinho effect, there was the Red Bull thing. So there's a lot going on at Leeds, and I think Leeds have huge expectations coming into the season. I don't think Leeds expect to be in any sort of relegation battle. I think they see themselves as a little step above what's there. And I think if they are in any kind of a relegation battle, Farke will get the wings clipped, and they'll bring in that name that they wanted to bring in over the summer. I think he's a little bit of a dead man waiting, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Show. Right. This is probably our favourite bit, but hot takes. We need 2 hot takes off everyone. So Ted's, I'll give you first. Ted is in. Brentford will just be outside relegation. Pedro will flop for Chelsea. Delap will be their main man by the middle of the season. What do we think on that, Darren? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think Brentford just being outside the relegation would be a hot take, would it? I think that's, you know, a lot of people see it as a flip-flop, you know, 16th, 17th kind of thing, 18th. Pedro will be a flop at Chelsea. I don't think it'll be right. Now, the other thing you have is Pedro at times when he played for Brighton played on the left-hand side. I think so far he's played a lot up front. I don't necessarily see it as a situation that, you know, a Lampard and a Gerrard, they can't play together. I think you could see a situation where you have Delap as the 9 and you have Pedro as maybe the left-sided forward, and they could both work in tandem. I've gone on record already to say I fully expect Liam Delap to be England's next number 9 after Harry Kane. I think he's that good. I think he'll do very, very well at Chelsea. So I don't necessarily, not that I don't disagree with Ted, but I do think we could see both of the lads have a good season. So I don't think Pedro will flop now, not for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. If you're in the chat there, give us your picks, give us your predictions and all. Send them on. We like to have banter about this during the season. Chelsea have Palace. There we go. Ted being silly now. Hot take. Spurs will finish 7th. Okay, that's a hot take. Right, Keith, 2 hot takes.
Well, I think Pedro probably might be up there for top goal scorer if he plays a blinder, because I really do rate him an awful lot, to be honest. The other one, I think if Gyökeres gets injured and it's a lengthy spell, Arsenal might not get top 4. I won't pick them as top 4, to be honest, because it goes to show when they don't have a striker, they struggle an awful lot to score goals. And they have a fantastic defence, a very good midfield, but they always just lack that killer instinct of getting the ball in the back of the net. So if their if their striker is out, I don't pick them to be in top 4 then.
Means in. Yerkes will score under 20 goals.
Is that in the Premier League or in all competitions?
Yeah, well, that's actually Ben's hot take here is that Yerkes won't score more than 20 in all competitions. I think if he got
I'd find that a stretch.
Yeah, a lot of games.
Like games. It's if Ian was saying, he won't score more than 20. Like if he scored, let's say he scored 19 in the league, right? What won the Golden Boot last year in the league? All comps? Don't say it, man. Don't say it.
It was Salah, wasn't it?
Many.
It was Salah won it, yeah.
What did he have?
Hang on, I'm going to find out now. Golden.
20.
Salah won it with winners. Salah won it with 29.
29, yeah. Yeah,
29 goals in the league.
Yeah,
so but in recent years, Son and Salah shared it with 23 a couple of years ago. Haaland's won it with 27. Like, if Gyökeres scores 19, is it a bad season?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Jesus. We're setting the bar there, lads, aren't we?
Yeah, well, you're talking about 20. You're talking about 20 more goals coming into Arsenal that doesn't be there with Jesus or, hasn't been there with Havertz because obviously he missed a portion of the season last season and stuff. So it's a big uplift as well,
And he also misses the target an awful fucking lot as well, doesn't he?
Yes. Sesko could outscore Yerkes. Darren, you take that one. Acer's hot take.
Sesko could outscore Gyökeres.
Well, I presume we're talking Prem here, obviously, because you've no European football, so it has to be just Prem.
Yeah, like I think there's variables in that. There's massive variables. Obviously, if Gyökeres doesn't play a certain amount of games, it will be difficult for him to get the volume. If he picks up an injury or something. Likewise, if Sesko picks up an injury, he ain't going to reach the numbers. So, I think if both lads were fit, United might be a more attacking team than Arsenal will. Arsenal obviously they've built their game on defensive solidity and keeping clean sheets and stuff like that, whereas we'll go a little more gung-ho, so to speak.
But to say if he gets injured, just like what I said, if he gets injured for like a long period of time, let's say 5-6 months, do you think Arsenal will struggle because they're just reliant on him for the goals, provided they get everybody in?
Well, I spoke to Niall about this over the summer. I couldn't believe Arsenal would go and spend all that money on Gyökeres and then go and spend all that money on Madueke when they didn't have an understudy for Gyökeres. They haven't had a 9 for years. Going and getting a 9 is a great deal. They've got Gyökeres. He's one of the top 9s in European football. They don't have anyone to play behind him. The lad who was being lined up to play behind him now looks like he's going to be third choice at Old Trafford, which is Cheeto Obi. So why didn't they go and get somebody at that 30, 40 million pound, leave Noni where he was, and get goals that, you know what, if Gyökeres plays in the Champions League on Wednesday night and we're home against Burnley on Saturday, we'll give this other 40 million pound lad a day out, let him put 2 past Burnley, keep everything rolling. And, you know, they didn't do that.
We said it at the end of last season, Darren, didn't we? Remember, we turned around and we said, with Jesus picking up that injury, he's probably going to run out his contract, probably might not even play for them again. Yeah. And then obviously Eddie and Keddy had left the building, and then Reece Nelson as well. And we were saying, not only do they need to sign one, they need to sign two.
They need 2 9s, and they've only signed 1.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, Arteta is like, it is. I think this is a do or die season for Arteta as well.
It is, yeah. It's when the trophy began.
Well, remember the issue there as well, because we were informed as well that we heard that there was a bit of a battle going on there between him and Bertha, where actually Arteta wanted Seshko, and it was Bertha who pushed for Yerkes. So there's a little bit of a battle going on there as well. And we know that our boy Arteta as well, like, he doesn't mind throwing things out of the pram as well when he gets a little bit upset now. It's quite an emotional.
It'll get you.
Dino's in Premier League title race will go to the final day of the season. That's his hot take. Dino, I hope not. I hope not. Saka injury from last season is fully healed completely. Yeah, but the way in which they play him and they don't give him any time off lends itself to, you know, that can be fully healed up again until you do it again. And that's the problem. And they don't have, I mean, who's the backup for him?
Saka's been like a fiddle that they played so often. He's no tunes fucking left in him, God bless him. Yeah. And I feel for the kid, because he has dragged Arsenal along for the last 2 or 3 seasons. And you've hit the nail on the head there, Philip. We've spoken about burnout for years and years.
It's not fair.
You know, and it's not fair to stick all of that on a kid at his age and then just see him wilt away for the next couple of years because of what he's had to endure. It's very tough on a kid.
Darren, it was the same thing happened with Liverpool, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen. Same bullshit over again. They playing too much and they're getting burned out and all, injuries, fatigue, so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's more games than there was 20, 30 years ago.
And the intensity. Yeah. Like these lads are the work rate and the energy and the impact this kind of stuff now has on their bodies. Yes, they're treated better. Yes, their bodies are a little more primed because of the life they lead, the lifestyle and the stuff.
Sport science and that.
All of that. But Niall is again hit the nail on the head there. Like, these lads can't walk down the street without the level of expectation being put on their shoulders from kids to football. We're part of the problem, you know, so I fully get that. But it doesn't make it easier when you're in that position, you know. And especially if you're at a club like Arsenal, who's been starved of success, you know, over the last number of years. Like, Arsenal are craving some sort of success, something to give them a little bit of hope. And because they haven't had it, they've had to push everything onto this kid to drag them along. And it's really hard on them.
I just think, Arteta's is gambling seriously this year. He should be getting a second striker, I feel. And if, like I said, if your man gets injured, I think they're snookered, because Jesus is not a natural goal scorer. You know, they don't have natural goal scorers in their team.
Well, your problem is if Gyökeres is injured, we're back to Kai Havertz, the number 9.
Yeah.
Well, you're back to basically the same, because if you think about it, Zubamendi has come in basically because Partey's left the building. Yep. So that's like, I'm not saying like for like, but in terms of a body and a body. So if Yerkes gets injured and Kai Havertz sits in there, you're basically looking still at Martinelli or Trossard on the left, Saka on the right. You're still looking at the same midfield, just Zubamendi switched in for Partey who left. The back line is still the same. The keeper is still the same. So you're still looking at the same Arsenal again. Okay, you have the likes of Norgard there on the bench and stuff like that and all, but like, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? It's you're still looking at the same conundrum for them there, you know. That's why this whole left side needed such an upgrade. As we said at the start of the show, it's no point in buying a brilliant striker if you don't have the tools to supply him. He can't do it on his own.
100%, Noel.
It was the one thing that I felt a little bit guilty about last season, was some of the grief that Rasmus Højlund got. You know, as a young kind of a striker like that, we pinned an awful lot on Rasmus Højlund last season. But as Niall said, we didn't give him the tools around him. There was no creativity around him to create chances, for the kid to score goals, build some confidence and stuff like that. So he kind of got tarred with that brush at United. You don't want to see that happen elsewhere for the same sort of reason. And that's, what's happened at Arsenal as well.
You'd see a very different Rasmus Højlund this season if it was Cunha and Buemo Højlund and also Baliba.
Absolutely.
That Rasmus Højlund would be very, very different because we know he can score goals. Seen the boy play it out.
And also,
if
anyone watched him in the Premier League series in the US, he was absolutely bang at it. He was bang at it. He was hassling and harrying. He was putting his body on the line. He still needs goals. He has to add. But if there was nothing beside you to create and you couldn't get any, I can understand. Give him. I would have said, give him a spin with the likes of Acuna and an Mbeumo beside him, and see what when the cutbacks come. Is he there? If he's not there, it's a different story. But
and obviously with Sesko coming in as well, it takes a bit of pressure off the boy as well, So he doesn't feel he's the only guy rocking the jersey. You know what I mean?
Would it be a clever move, right? Would it be a clever move? And again, we talked about this, to keep Højlund in the background. So if maybe things aren't going well, you then don't have the same going on to a Benjamin Sesko. You can put a Højlund in. He's already taken the flak, so to speak. Let him take it again. Protect the kids until you get to a stage where, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah. I agree 100%, Darren. Well, we know harm to keep him there as backup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't, I mean, if you take Højlund out of the situation, are you not in that similar Yerke's kind of situation at Arsenal? Because if Sesko gets injured, then what? You know what I mean? So
then we big Cheeto Obi. Don't be giving it. What have we got?
Yeah, but I mean, you're going back into a situation of a massive season for Ruben Amorim going in with a boy that's somewhat unproven, So
100%. I'm only just, me.
Absolutely. AC Milan want Rasmus Højlund on loan. Yeah. So I think there'll be a lot of teams looking for Rasmus Højlund. I don't think last season is a fair reflection on the boy at all.
No, I don't.
I have two hot takes here for you. The first one is I think Sunderland will survive easily. I don't think they'll be in a relegation battle. And the other one that I think is going to be a major problem, but it could change over the next 2 weeks as well. I think Newcastle could fall away into the bottom half of the table, depending on what happens over the next couple of weeks. But I think if they lose Isaac, and I think if their answer is a Jackson or whatever it is, I think they're in serious trouble. Serious trouble. So that's
no, that'd be serious trouble for Eddie Howe.
Oh, 100%. Well, me and Darren have always spoken about how Eddie Howe is the bridge between good and greatness. And we've often said that Eddie Howe's gone in there to do a job potentially for a 3 to 5 season window, didn't we, Darren? And then they would level up, like what you spoke about with what was the thing you were talking about earlier? And you said that they get Leeds leveling up on the managerial situation, get the guy they want. That might not be the case at Newcastle, I think. Now, and listen, and we're big fans of Eddie Howe, me and Darren, and stuff like that. But I think Eddie Howe is the pathway to something much bigger for Newcastle. I think if they get the
I was just going to say that to you, Niall. Yeah, I think he's the pathway somewhere bigger.
And you got to remember they've been turned down this season by 11 players, and look who's in style there. You got Eddie Howe there, and you got Eddie Howe's either his brother or brother-in-law is doing the Paul Mitchell.
His brother, I think, isn't it?
It's brother.
I think if they got someone like a Unai Emery in, I think he'd do fantastic. I think they put up to the next level. If they got
I think the issue for Newcastle is no matter who they get in, I think the problem is they need to find a way to release the funding by better commercial deals and all that kind of stuff. I think the one thing that's let Newcastle down over the last 3 years is I thought they would have been much further on in terms of commercial deals to release bigger money for bigger projects to kick on that bit more. Not saying that they haven't done that. I mean, last year they won a trophy first in 70 years and all that kind of stuff. And I think Eddie Howe's done a phenomenal job. But as Darren talks about as well, when you get to the Shar stage, the Dan Burn stage, all that kind of stuff, you need to look at those kind of things as well and ask those hard questions. And I don't know. I think the problem for Newcastle as well is Newcastle at times can be a very hard sell. And I think you need a guy in that hot seat to convince you to come in. You know, that Mourinho effect or
Yep.
whatever it is, you know.
No,
And I'm not
why-
saying Mourinho at the moment, but in general.
Why not go after Watkins from Aston Villa? He'll do fantastic for Newcastle. I know
That's
he's
I
getting
think
money.
so myself, yeah.
The thing about it is he may not fancy going to Newcastle. He may be holding out maybe for a switch to London. Watkins very much could be the cheaper option that comes in from Arsenal at the back end of the window, maybe as the Yerke situation and stuff. I don't know. Maybe he's looking at bigger things because it is a World Cup year and he's in there in terms of that England squad and stuff like that. So he'll want to have a big season. So he'll want to go somewhere where he's played as well. But I think
is that what's basically looks like at the minute? It's stopping the Mark Gahey deal.
Potentially, but if you look at the Canate,
the Gahey is looking at it and going, I could come in here and not be playing every single week.
See, the issue is, as far as I know, Canate has basically said he's going to Real Madrid. I read a report today, apparently, that he's not signing a new contract. There was talk the other day they were close on the new contract. Now the talk is his heart's in Real Madrid. He wants to go there either next season or this season on a smaller fee. For me, I think Gahey comes into the team. I think even if Canate decides he's going on a free next season, I think Gahey comes into the team. And I think we sit Canate down. I think that's what we didn't do with Trent last season. And I think that's the approach we should take.
Is Canate reading that book, Postcards from Trent?
Possibly. Possibly. But you know, that's I mean, Asus is in there saying he's doing a Trent. Yeah, he is. That's what it looks like. So if he is, let's bring Gahey in, give him the starting position. And you know what disappoints me about Canate as well? If Canate balled out for the next 2 years and Van Dijk's leaving the building, Canate's name, if he did really, really well, he could be someone who's in the shake up there for the captaincy or the vice captaincy.
But here's another one for you, Niall, as well. Like, I know Newcastle want 2 strikers in, but would they not try to get like Watkins in, or just for argument's sake, and then sell what's his name, Alexander Isak, just to get the trouble and the drama over?
But see, the issue for them there at the moment is, I think Isak will happen anyway. I think the issue for Newcastle at the moment is, if you're a player sitting there like Ollie Watkins tonight and you're being told Newcastle, he's looking at that going, everyone and their sister has refused to go there, bar Ramsdale and Elanga and this other guy that Darren spoke about. But most of the players that you want in there, like, I think Newcastle would be in a very different position if they had landed in Buemo, if they had brought in Sesko, if they had started signing players. Then you get the ball rolling and you start bringing players in. I think they've had so many refusals. I think people are concerned. And it's not an easy sell to sell people that go up there. It's out of the way. It's a different kind of situation. It's even like, you know, we talk about the Scouse culture in Liverpool now. Newcastle have that up there with the Geordies. It's a different culture and it's not for everyone. And then you hear them talking today. They're talking about, oh, by the way, guys, we're not losing our best player because our best player is actually Tonali. So, you know, there's a narrative out there as well. And you don't necessarily want to be wrapped up in that. And certainly not in a World Cup year as well, which is so important to these guys.
I just feel that it's a bit of a stretch to try and get 2 strikers in for them, because with the amount of bad luck that they've been having to try to get players in the door, I feel they just need to cut their losses with Isak, try get a good striker in if it's like Ollie Watkins or something like that, and then try your luck again in January. You could be in a different situation.
See, I'm slightly different than you. I don't think this is bad luck. I think Newcastle are trying to sit at a table that they're not ready prepared for yet. I think that's true.
100% there, yeah.
The big boys at the top table, because they know the wealth is there. They've gotten into the Champions League. Like, this is a team that's in the Champions League. This is a team that won a Carabao Cup. You know what I mean? So it should look attractive. But I think what's happened there is, I think they've sometimes gone in for a player that's just a level above, and they're competing against better teams that are more attractive. As you said,
I said this to you when we were talking about it. I think at times the recruitment was at the wrong level. Like, okay, you go in and try and get the boy James Trafford, and then you realise the elephant in the room is City have a boy back on him, and he's going back to City. Okay, you go head to head, Newcastle and City. Where are you picking? You're picking City. You go in and look for the boy Benjamin Sesko. All of a sudden, the elephant in the room was Man United. They need a number 9. They're building a project. They have this and that. You go head to head with Man United. Who do you choose? You lose to Man United. Then that snowballs and you go here, and that's all that's happened. I do feel like, and I said it to Niall, there was an easier way of doing this, right? And stuff needed to be done much quicker to get targets, to land targets, and to be really clever, because I also think it's a much tougher sell to guys outside of the league than it is guys inside the league. So if you went right, and I'm Newcastle there, and I go, right, look at the league, let's look at what teams sat either slightly above us or slightly below us. What could we steal from them? Because for years, United used to buy the best of what the other teams had. We'd go and sign a Dwight York and Andy Cole, right? Guys like this, right? Newcastle could have done that. Newcastle could have gone and got themselves a Jared Bowen, right? They didn't. They should have gone and got themselves a Jared Bowen. They could have gone and thrown money at a Matt Sells. They would have got themselves a Matt Sells. They could have thrown money at, probably before he signed the contract, the boy Murillo. There was opportunities to be quick off the mark, to take players from the league proven, to bring the best in class from elsewhere and drag it together. They didn't. They were looking in Milan. They were in Madrid. They were in Munich. They were here. They were there. And you're like, lads, you're not selling Newcastle to a lad in fucking Milan. It's not, you know what I mean?
Where they fundamentally messed up was when we went in with the 110 million bid for Isaac, instead of them going, oh, fuck off, we want 150 million, they should have got into conversation with us. The boy's head was turned. He had already had conversations about wanting to be out this season and stuff like that. He's one of the best strikers in Europe. They have him on 140 grand a week. He's not going to tolerate that. His agent's not going to tolerate that. They should have gone into conversation with us, says, listen, we're not taking 110. Give us 125 plus the add-ons and let's do a deal. Get the 125 in early in the window. Get it done the first week of the window. Get the 125 in. Go out there, look at potentially a Matoma, go down and look at those different teams, look at getting those players in. Go get your Ekatike if you want them, because we now have Isaac. We wouldn't potentially look at that. And that's where they fundamentally fucked up. And then there's a wave here at the moment, Liverpool tapping up, Liverpool doing this, that, and the other. What are they doing to Johan Visser right now at Brentford? They're doing the exact same thing, yet they want to moan about us. And the issue is that Isaac already had conversations with the club saying he wanted to leave this season, that he wasn't happy. Me and Darren spoke about Isaac back in the January window, that he had turned down a number of offers from Newcastle then, and that he wanted out. We knew this. You know what I mean?
They should have been real clever when they went in for Mbumo with Brentford. They should have said, listen, lads, it's the very start of the window. We know United are interested. We're going to come. We're going to take Mbumo and Visa. There's 100 million for the two boys. You sell it to the two lads. They're both coming to play Champions League football. They're coming with the lad that's played beside them. They're both going together. They're taking a step up from Brentford. You come in, you can have 150 grand a week each, lads. Everything's real fucking simple. Brentford now have the money. They say, okay, we've lost two of our players, but we've 100 million and we've time to replace them. Deal done. You get United out of the window. Everything's real simple. Now they're still haggling with Brentford over Visa. And you're like, this isn't a sell. Like,
and they're going to pay through the nose from. Now they're going to pay through the nose, where they could have gone in, got a Buemo Visa and said, listen, lads, we're also interested in Nathan Collins. So let's do a real deal here if you want. They have the 125 mil on the back burner. Boom, let's go. Now they're going to pay nearly half that for Johan Visa by the looks of things, which is insane. Insane. Because now everyone knows that they're up a fucking thing without a paddle and they've nowhere to go and they have to spend and they have to get players in. Because Isaac is out of town, whether he comes to us or whether he sits out or whatever it is, he ain't going back there. There's no way. If you look at the way,
I don't see him sitting out.
Why don't you integrate him back in?
There's no way he's sitting out for the whole season.
Not a hope.
Not a hope.
I don't know.
And as well as that, Newcastle are up against legacy clubs like Liverpool, Man U for players that Liverpool and Man U wanted, and because there's a food chain as well where the likes of Liverpool and Man U are the two top dogs in England, and then below that it's Newcastle and the likes of Man City and all. Do you know where you're not going to? Other players will want to go to the likes of Liverpool and Man U.
Look at how long it took Jurgen Klopp to get Liverpool back to the top table to be eating around Europe royalty and stuff. You know what I mean?
As well, Niall,
and actually, it's only now really that Liverpool are eating at that table because of the work Klopp did to get them there, and now he left them in a setup. He left them in a great position, and like Keith is saying, with Liverpool being a club with a lot of history and stuff like that, now they've got, well, actually, we do have a lot of history, but right now we're also one of the top football clubs in the world because of the position we've been left in financially and physically on the pitch. So selling is easy.
But when we were at our worst, we still could get one of the best players in, the likes of Torres, Suarez, all those type of players.
Yeah, but we also spent a lot of time, Kate, signing our third and fourth choices and stuff.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, like Ricky Lambert and all that. Yeah,
some of that talent as well.
Yeah, Adam Lallana and Ricky Lambert, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Stephen Cocker and Sean Dundee and
Julian. Jesus Christ. Andy Carroll.
Very quickly,
God,
lads.
Andy Carroll.
We're on the hour. Oh, yeah, and imagine spending the Torres money on him.
Imagine spending the Torres money on Andy Carroll. Whoever allowed that happen should be shot with balls around.
I don't want to even hear about. Alan Shearer is a shy hawk. Alan Shearer was the one who came out and told us we should be clapping Trent off to Madrid. We shouldn't be holding him hostage. We should be happy for the boy because he's going off for a different challenge. Now with Isaac, he's talking the same shit. Like, it's just go away. I couldn't be with that lad at all. Yeah.
Niall, can I have two hot takes there before we hang up?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not hanging up anyway. We've a quick.
You're saying sorry. Well, my two be Everton to finish 10th and Crystal Palace to win the Europa Conference.
It's a good show. Europa Conference, good show. Not that I'm happy in it. Right, very quickly down through the matches for the weekend.
Darren, I think that's a fucking great show, Big Phil.
It is. Yeah.
Darren.
I think that's, tell you how good a fucking shout I think it is.
He's going to look at the
price. I'm going to find out.
Go on. Paddy Power, is it?
Now, this obviously depends on what happens over the next 2 weeks. Like, if they lose Mateta and they lose Esse and they lose Gay.
I don't think they're losing all of them.
They wouldn't go, probably.
I do. I think Eze will probably go. And I'll be interested to see how they replace. But I think if you look at them on the basis of what they have now, they could absolutely win that conference.
Do you think Mark is on as well?
Well, at the minute he's hanging in there, so we'll wait and see.
We're offering 30 and they want 35. We'll get it done. We're not going to miss out on them over 2 or, we'll probably land on 32 or 33. We won't fall out over 2 million with them, and especially with the Kanate situation, we can't roll the dice on that. Gomez is injury prone. Who else have we got?
Oh, stop.
So, right, Keith, run down through the fixtures here. Give us your score predictions or winners or whatever it is. We get out here quick because we're on the hour and a half.
Yeah. I think Liverpool will win comfortably 3-0. Aston Villa, Newcastle, that'd be a good game. I could see that maybe being a draw, to be honest with you. Brighton, Fulham, I go for Brighton win. Nottingham Forest will probably win. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a Sunderland win against West Ham. I just think they're brutal, to be quite honest. Yeah. Spurs will win comfortably. Man City will win comfortably. Chelsea, do you know what? I'm going to go for a draw in that because Palace still have a good few players and to be high over that Community Shield. I think that's going to be a draw against Arsenal and Man U, and then I think Everton going to win Leeds.
Cool. Phil?
I say Liverpool will beat Bournemouth, and Aston Villa Newcastle, I said that'd be a draw. Brighton to beat Fulham. Forest to beat Brentford. Sunderland West Ham. Bring over Sunderland win. Spurs to beat Burnley. City to beat Wolves. Chelsea, Crystal Palace. Chelsea, I say, could be scraping 1-0, probably 2-1. Man United, Arsenal, draw. And Leeds, Everton to win.
Darren?
I'm actually taking part in a predictions competition this year, Niall. And in the competition, you have to predict the winner of the game and the score.
Yeah.
So you get 2 points if you get the winning team right or the result. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you manage to nail the actual score line, you get 4 points. And you've also got the option of captaining a game, which you get double points on every week. So
is it Super 6?
Is it what?
Is it the Super 6 where you predict the score and all that? No,
it is, but you do the all 10 every week.
All right.
And you pick a game to captain. So I'll give you what I've gone for. I've gone Liverpool 4-0,
Mm.
Villa 2-1, Brighton 2-1, Sunderland 2-1, Spurs 3-0, City 2-0, Forest 2-0, Chelsea 3-1, United and Arsenal 2-2, Leeds and Everton 1-1.
Jeez. That's some betting there.
Interesting.
That's what I've gone with, Niall.
Right, Liverpool win, obviously. I think Aston Villa and Newcastle will be a draw. I think Brighton and Fulham will be a draw. I think Forest will beat Brentford. I think Sunderland will edge out West Ham slightly. Spurs will beat Burnley. I think Man City will beat Wolves. I think Chelsea will beat Palace. And I think United are going to beat Arsenal.
You can't say on Monday night down the show as well. Or we have to take a draw, would.
I think United are going to beat Arsenal. I think there's still fundamental problems there at Arsenal, and I think United are going to be buoyed by the signings they've made, and I think this could be the Emblemo, or this. I think this could be the Sesko coming out party potentially.
Do you know what I think the biggest problem with Arsenal is? They're a small club and they got a shit manager. Night all.
When's the last time they beat you there as well? Is it in the league?
Yeah, it's been a while already.
Did they beat you there in a cup 1-0 or something like that? 23 or something, or 22?
Do you think if Arsenal lose, do you think that's the pressure piled onto Arteta straight away?
100%.
Absolutely.
Look, we know how actually the fan base is now. They have a meltdown.
Stop a bunch of crybags.
They've gone from being one of the most likable fan bases to being one of the most hated now. I said it on the podcast at the end of last season. They nearly swapped places with the United fan base for me. And I had a lot of time for Arsenal and Arsenal fans. I think it's gone toxic as hell.
When were they a good fan base?
Well, I used to like Arsenal under Wenger, and I used to like the style of play. I used to like, you know what I mean?
So you liked Arsenal and Wenger. You didn't like their fans.
Well, I didn't have an issue with the fans because they were winning stuff and there wasn't a whole lot to complain about.
Right, but there was no issue with the fans because, not that it was, you didn't love the fans.
And we didn't have a lot of social media either. So we weren't exposed to what we're exposed now. Like, I now have Arsenal fans on Twitter comparing this Arsenal side to that great Barcelona side. And trying to justify an argument about it.
Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Yeah, but my dad used to say to me when I was a kid, he said, son, opinions are like arseholes. Unfortunately, everyone has one.
True.
Social media gives certain individuals that probably shouldn't have an opinion. And that just, I think with the Arsenal fans, and here's a hot take for you. There's a serious lack of education in the UK. And they're all a little bit fucking simple.
Oh, stop.
And because of that, they all go off the deep end when they get pipped in the 94th minute. And, so what can you say?
Is that your prediction then in Buemo 94th minute?
Might be.
You take that, wouldn't you?
Might be Cunha.
Can you imagine? That'd be war. Well, listen, lads, pleasure having you on. This is the prediction show. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like in the video. Now, then we'll have the boys on again throughout the season and stuff to give their opinion, rumour, all that good
stuff. Thanks, Darren, for inviting me on.
Great to have you, lads.
Same.
Until next time, folks, have a safe weekend. Enjoy.
Lads, be good.
Big up, Bren. Talk to you tomorrow, pal. Have your stuff fit. As always. So until next time, folks, stay safe, enjoy the football, don't lose the head. It's not that big a deal, really. It's not the be all and end all. Don't let the next 9 months affect your mental health. Go easy.